Hi boys and girls, welcome back for a new chapter. Today we are going to be reading our next chapter of Magic Treehouse, The Night of the Ninjas. I hope you enjoy it. We are on chapter 7. Where we had left off, the Ninja Masters had just told Jack and Annie that they need to get back to their treehouse all by themselves, and they have to avoid the samurais. So let's read and find out what happens. Chapter 7, To the East. Jack and Annie stood still for a long moment. Annie spoke first. "Well, I guess the tall ninja was pointing to the east," she said. "I guess that's the way we go." "Wait," said Jack. "I need to write some stuff down." And so he took out his notebook, and in the moonlight he wrote, 1. Use nature. 2. Be nature. 3. Follow nature. So remember, those are the rules that the ninja told him to follow in order to find his treehouse, okay? So let's keep reading. "Look, Jack," whispered Annie. "Do I look like a ninja?" He looked at her, and she had pulled her sweatshirt hood over her head and tied the strings tightly. She did look like a ninja, a very small one. "Good idea," Jack whispered, and he pulled his hood up too. "Okay, let's go," said Annie. Jack put his notebook away. Then he and Annie headed east into the woods. They slipped between trees and more trees and more trees. All the trees looked the same. Jack got confused. Were they still going in the right direction? "Wait," he said, and Annie stopped. They both stared at the woods. "Do you think we're still going east?" asked Jack. "I guess so," said Annie. "Well, we can't just guess," said Jack. "We have to know for sure." "How do we do that?" said Annie. "We don't have a compass." And just then, the master's words came back to Jack. "The master said to use nature," he said. "Well, how do we do that?" asked Annie. "Wait, I remember something," and Jack closed his eyes. He remembered something in a camping book. Now, what was it? And he opened his eyes and he said, "I've got it. First, we need a stick." So Annie picked up a stick. "Here," she said. "Great. Now, we just need a space with moonlight," said Jack. "There," said Annie, and they moved into a moonlit space between the shadows. "Now, push the stick into the ground," Jack said, and Annie pushed the stick into the ground. "The stick's shadow looks like it's more than 6 inches. What do you think?" said Jack. "It looks like it, I guess," said Annie. "Okay, then that means the shadow's pointing east," said Jack. "Neat," said Annie. "So, that way is east." And Jack pointed a new direction. "At least I hope it is." "We're real ninjas now," said Annie. "Yep," said Jack. "Maybe we are. Come on." And they took off, heading east, they hoped. Soon, they were out of the pine woods and walking down the rocky mountainside. They moved slowly from rock to rock, and finally they rested against a gigantic rock. "Let's check our direction again," said Jack. Annie stuck another stick into the dirt. "There," he said, and he pointed to the shadow on the ground. "That way." Annie peeked over the rock down the mountain. "Yikes," she said. Jack looked too, and his heart nearly stopped. There were flames of fire coming up the mountain. The samurai! Jack and Annie ducked behind the rock. "Squeak," said the mouse. "Quiet, Peanut," Annie told him. Jack reached into his backpack, and he pulled out the ninja book. "I hope something in here can help us," he said. Jack flipped through page after page until he found what he was looking for. It was a picture of warriors wearing bamboo armor. They were holding swords, and he read, "The samurai were fierce Japanese fighters. They carried 2 swords to cut down their enemies." Annie tapped Jack on the shoulder. Jack looked at her, and she pointed up at the mountain. A person was coming towards them. He was very near, and in the moonlight, his bamboo armor was shining, and his 2 swords were gleaming. It was a samurai warrior. So, the samurai warrior is coming close to them, and that's the end of our chapter. So, you'll have to tune in again next week for chapter 8. We're actually almost finished. There's 10 chapters in this book. We've only got 3 more, so I hope you're enjoying it. And today, if you want to talk with your families about what do you think Jack and Annie are going to do now that this Japanese samurai warrior is right with them. It's a little scary. Think about what they might do. What would you do? Make a good prediction. I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys.